Welcome back to our channel, Soap Fans. Today is a beautiful day to dive into the most explosive drama Los Angeles has ever seen. The tension is off the charts, and we have the absolute latest scoop on the impending Spencer and Forrester war. Let's get right into the madness. The Bikini Bar brawl has just ignited a catastrophic chain of events. Hello, I'm Emma Bennett from the BNB Spoilers YouTube channel. The neon lights of the Bikini Bar normally illuminate a scene of tropical drinks and carefree summer nights, but tonight, they cast a sinister, blood-red glow over a scene of absolute devastation. The shattered glass on the floor is nothing compared to the shattered legacy of two of Los Angeles's most powerful families. Eric Forrester, the legendary patriarch, lies battered and bruised, the victim of a catastrophic miscalculation. The air in the room is thick with panic, the heavy silence broken only by the frantic gasps of the onlookers. This is no longer just a rivalry over hemlines and runway models, this is a visceral, violent explosion that has forever altered the landscape of the fashion world. The physical violence has finally breached the surface, and the fallout is going to be apocalyptic. Standing over the fallen icon is Will Spencer, his fists still clenched, his chest heaving as the horrifying reality of his actions crashes down upon him. He did not mean to strike the elderly Forrester patriarch. It was a chaotic, adrenaline-fueled brawl with R.J. Forrester that spiraled wildly out of control. But in the ruthless, high-stakes world of Forrester versus Spencer, intentions mean absolutely nothing. The damage is done. The physical bruise forming on Eric's face is a beacon that will draw the ultimate wrath of the Forrester family. Will stares at his trembling hands, paralyzed by the sheer magnitude of the catastrophe he has just unleashed. He knows, in this agonizing moment, that his life will never be the same. Electra Forrester's piercing screams echo through the establishment, a chilling soundtrack to the unfolding nightmare. She is completely traumatized, her eyes wide with sheer terror as she looks from her bleeding grandfather to the man she once loved. The man she thought she knew has just committed the ultimate unforgivable sin against her bloodline. R.J. Forrester is held back by the bar staff, his face contorted in a mask of feral rage, screaming accusations at his cousin. The chaos is absolute, a swirling vortex of anger and heartbreak that threatens to consume everyone in its path. But the true terror is only just beginning, because Ridge Forrester is about to enter the fray. The heavy wooden doors of the Bikini Bar swing open with a violent crash, and Ridge Forrester steps into the neon-lit carnage. His eyes instantly lock onto his father, who is being tended to on the floor. The transformation in Ridge is instantaneous and terrifying. The calculating co-CEO of Forrester Creations vanishes, replaced by a ruthless, predatory son who has just witnessed his family's patriarch brutally assaulted. The unyielding fury building in his chest radiates through the room, dropping the temperature by 10 degrees. Ridge does not ask questions. He does not seek context. He only sees the blood, the bruise, and the Spencer heir standing at the center of the destruction. Ridge locks eyes with Will, and the death stare he delivers is cold enough to freeze time. Will takes a desperate step forward, his voice cracking as he tries to explain that it was a horrific accident, that he was aiming for RJ, that he would never intentionally hurt Eric. Ridge shuts him down instantly with a raised hand and a voice dripping with venomous absolute authority. There will be no apologies accepted tonight. There will be no family meetings, no corporate compromises, and no sweeping this under the rug. Ridge has made a cold, calculated decision in the blink of an eye, and he is about to unleash a level of vengeance that will shake the Spencer family to its very core. Without breaking eye contact with the trembling Spencer heir, Ridge pulls his phone from his pocket. The action is slow, deliberate, and dripping with malicious intent. He is not calling Brooke for damage control. He is not calling Carter Walton for legal advice. Ridge dials 911, his voice echoing through the silent bar as he reports a violent assault on a senior citizen. He uses words like unprovoked attack, dangerous assailant, and immediate assistance required. He is painting a picture of a ruthless crime, ensuring that the authorities arrive with maximum force. Ridge shows absolutely zero mercy, severing any remaining ties between the warring families with a single phone call. The agonizing wait for the police feels like an eternity. The tension in the bar is suffocating, a thick fog of dread that wraps around Will's throat. The patrons are whispering, their eyes darting between the bruised fashion icon on the floor and the young man who put him there. Will realizes with sickening clarity that Ridge is not just protecting his father, he is weaponizing this tragedy. Ridge is taking the corporate war that has been raging between Forrester Creations and Logan Designs and dragging it directly into the criminal justice system. Will is no longer just a rival employee, he is about to become a convicted felon if Ridge has his way. The wail of police sirens pierces the night air, growing louder and more frantic with every passing second. The flashing red and blue lights begin to reflect off the windows of the Bikini Bar, casting erratic, strobe-like shadows across the terrified faces of the crowd. The reality of the situation crashes into Will like a freight train. He is about to be arrested. The golden boy of the Spencer Empire, the young man who was supposed to help lead Katie's new fashion house to glory, is about to be hauled away in the back of a squad car. The sirens are a death knell for his freedom and his future. Uniformed officers storm into the establishment, their hands resting cautiously on their duty belts as they assess the chaotic scene. Ridge immediately steps forward, his commanding presence taking control of the narrative. He points a steady, accusatory finger directly at Will Spencer, loudly declaring him the sole aggressor who viciously attacked an elderly man. The officers do not hesitate. They move swiftly toward Will, their expressions hardened and professional. The chaotic scene takes on a heavy, suffocating legal weight as the officers demand everyone step back and allow them to secure the suspect. Will does not resist, but his voice is frantic as he pleads his case to the officers, begging them to understand that it was a mistake. The officers ignore his desperate pleas, forcefully but efficiently spinning him around and pushing him against the nearest wall. The physical act of being detained strips away all of Will's remaining dignity. He is patted down, his arms pulled sharply behind his back. The cold, unforgiving steel of the handcuffs bites into his wrists, the metallic click echoing through the silent bar like a gunshot. It is a sound of absolute humiliation, a sound that signifies the total loss of control over his own life. The Miranda rights are read to Will in a monotone, authoritative voice, the words blurring together in his panicked mind. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. The harsh reality of the legal system is crashing down on the Spencer heir, suffocating him with the weight of his own explosive temper. He looks over his shoulder, locking eyes with Electra one last time. Her face is buried in her hands, her shoulders shaking with violent sobs. He has lost her. He has lost everything. And Ridge Forrester is watching the entire spectacle with a cold, satisfied smirk. The media frenzy ignites instantly. In the modern age, there are no private tragedies, especially not for the elite families of Los Angeles. The patrons of the Bikini Bar have their cell phones raised, recording every agonizing second of Will's arrest. The footage of the Spencer heir being handcuffed and read his rights is already being live-streamed, uploaded, and shared across every social media platform. The internet is catching fire, the trending hashtags spelling absolute disaster for Logan Designs. This is not just a personal tragedy, it is a catastrophic public relations nightmare that is unfolding in real time for the entire world to witness. As Will is escorted out the front doors of the bar, the situation escalates from a viral moment to a full-blown media circus. The paparazzi, tipped off by the police scanners and the social media explosion, have already swarmed the entrance. Flashbulbs erupt in a blinding, disorienting barrage of light, capturing Will's downfall from every possible angle. Reporters are shouting questions, shoving microphones toward his face, demanding to know why he attacked the legendary Eric Forrester. The public humiliation is absolute and unrelenting. Ridge's plan is working flawlessly, he is destroying the Spencer brand on the global stage. Just as the officers are pushing Will toward the waiting police cruiser, the screeching of tires cuts through the chaos. A sleek black SUV slams to a halt against the curb, and Bill and Katie Spencer throw their doors open, rushing into the blinding flashbulbs. They have arrived at the exact worst moment, stepping into a nightmare that they cannot wake up from. Katie's visceral reaction is immediate and heart-wrenching. It is a mother's absolute worst fear realized in high definition. She sees her boy, her pride and joy, surrounded by police officers and bound in cold steel handcuffs. Katie's desperate screams tear through the night air, begging the officers to stop, pleading with them to let her son go. She tries to push her way through the barricade of uniforms, her maternal panic overriding all logic and reason. The officers hold her back, their firm grips preventing her from reaching Will. The absolute devastation in Katie's eyes is agonizing to witness as she realizes the severity of the situation. Her son's violent tendencies, the explosive temper she had feared was growing out of control, have finally culminated in this catastrophic moment. But even in her horror, she is a mother bear, ready to fight to the death for her cub. Bill Spencer's entrance is nothing short of explosive. The billionaire patriarch steps into the flashing red and blue lights, the vein in his neck bulging as he unleashes the sheer, unadulterated rage of Dollar Bill. He does not plead, he demands. His booming voice echoes over the sirens and the shouting reporters, ordering the police to uncuff his son immediately. He threatens lawsuits, he threatens their badges, he wields his immense wealth and power like a blunt weapon. But in the face of a violent assault on a senior citizen with a dozen witnesses, Bill's billions cannot instantly undo an arrest in progress. The ultimate showdown materializes on the pavement outside the Bikini Bar. Bill Spencer and Ridge Forrester step toward each other, ignoring the police, ignoring the cameras, ignoring the chaos around them. They stand face to face, the hatred radiating between them so intensely it threatens to ignite the very air they breathe. This is the culmination of decades of rivalry, betrayal, and bad blood. Ridge looks at Bill with a gaze of pure, unyielding triumph. He has Bill's son in chains, and he intends to keep him there. The psychological warfare between these two titans is about to reach a level of devastation never before seen. Ridge delivers his ruthless declaration with a terrifying calmness. He states clearly, loudly enough for the press to hear, that Will Spencer is a violent thug who brutally attacked an unarmed senior citizen. He vows to the police, to the media, and directly to Bill's face that he will personally ensure Will is prosecuted to the absolute fullest extent of the law. Ridge makes it brutally clear that the excuse of an accident means absolutely nothing to him. Well, through the punch, Eric went down, and Ridge is going to make sure the Spencer heir rots in a prison cell for his crimes. The true, sinister motive behind Ridge's unyielding stance becomes crystal clear in the flashing lights. He is using Will as the ultimate scapegoat for the fashion war. Logan Designs has been stealing Forrester's thunder, poaching their talent, and threatening their legacy. Ridge has just found the perfect weapon to obliterate Katie's company. By branding the heir to the Spencer fortune as a violent criminal, Ridge is destroying the reputation, the funding, and the future of Logan Designs. He is determined to drag Will through the mud in a highly publicized trial, ensuring that the Spencer name becomes entirely toxic in the fashion industry. Bill Spencer absorbs Ridge's calculated threat, and his counterattack is terrifying in its absolute ferocity. Bill steps into Ridge's personal space, his voice a low, lethal growl that promises total annihilation. He vows to liquidate Forrester Creations. He promises to use every single dollar of his vast fortune, every corporate connection, every legal loophole, and every dirty trick in his arsenal to completely level Ridge's empire. If Ridge proceeds with pressing charges, Bill swears he will launch a hostile takeover so aggressive it will leave the Forrester family bankrupt, broken, and begging for mercy on the streets of Los Angeles. The escalation of this feud has officially crossed the point of no return. This is no longer a polite corporate rivalry over hemlines, runway shows, or stolen designs. This is a blood-soaked war for survival and vengeance. Ridge is weaponizing the criminal justice system to destroy the Spencers, and Bill is weaponizing his billions to obliterate the Forresters. The collateral damage will be immeasurable. Katie is caught in the crossfire, her heart shattered by her son's actions but her loyalty fiercely tied to his survival. Elektra is traumatized, her family bleeding and her love life destroyed in a single night of violence. The final, agonizing image of the night is Will Spencer being forcefully shoved into the back of the police cruiser. The heavy door slams shut with a definitive, echoing thud, physically separating the warring families. Will looks out the window, his face pale and terrified behind the reinforced glass. He watches his father screaming at Ridge, he watches his mother weeping uncontrollably, and he watches the flashbulbs continuing to document his total ruin. The cruiser shifts into gear, pulling away from the curb and disappearing into the dark streets of Los Angeles, carrying the Spencer heir toward a cold, unforgiving jail cell. The immediate aftermath leaves the remaining players standing in the flashing lights, the adrenaline slowly giving way to the horrifying reality of what has just occurred. Ridge turns his back on Bill, returning to the bar to tend to his father, his posture rigid with absolute determination. Bill wraps his arms around a sobbing Katie, his eyes locked onto the retreating taillights of the police cruiser, his mind already calculating the ruthless corporate strikes he will launch at dawn. The battle lines have been drawn in blood and steel, and the city braces for the impending shockwave. As the flashing lights finally fade into the night and the media scrambles to publish the explosive headlines, one thing is absolutely certain: Los Angeles will never be the same. The Spencer and Forrester war has entered its darkest, most destructive phase yet. Ridge is out for blood, Bill is out for total financial ruin, and Will's entire future hangs precariously in the balance. The fashion world is about to become a battleground of lawsuits, criminal trials, and hostile takeovers. Who will survive the absolute obliteration of this legendary rivalry, and who will be left buried in the rubble? That plot was absolutely dramatic, wasn't it? Thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. Remember, I'm Emma Bennett, and I wish you all a wonderful, drama-free day.